You're watching Dukascopy TV. I'm Elaine, Stenson, and I'm joined in the studio now by Lewinson, who's a director with Axia Management. He's here with me now to discuss Swiss banking. Lawrence, you're very welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. So what's the current environment for banks and investors in Switzerland with regard to secrecy?
Well, it's evolving. It's definitely changing, and it's been changing for the last probably 5 to 10 years. I think Switzerland has taken the stance that they will basically get rid of banking secrecy, mainly because a lot of banks got into trouble because of it, and it's the way the world is evolving. And therefore, I think it's important for banks today in Switzerland in general to reinvent themselves and provide probably more service, more expertise, which they have, and look for other ways to attract clients.
And you mentioned that they were sort of coming into some trouble for secrecy reasons.
Well, what happened was, banking secrecy in itself was part of the Swiss establishment. The problem was a lot of banks were, or some banks were, marketing the banking secrecy environment outside of Switzerland, and that's when the banks ran into trouble.
So what do you think the future for banking in Geneva and Switzerland holds?
Well, I think it's still bright. It's just that the banks right now have to rely on other sources to attract clients, and there are other ways to attract clients. I think definitely the expertise is important. The safe environment and stable environment of Switzerland is also important, and I think that will always attract people. And also they have to perhaps adapt their fees and be more competitive versus other places. And that way I think the future is quite bright.
What's your current view on the state of the markets today?
Well, the markets so far this year have done quite well, and for the moment in the last few weeks we've gone through a little bit of a correction, which is healthy for the markets, which is normal in let's say a normal bull market, and that's what we're living right now. But I think the future is still bright for the market, at least for the next couple of years.
How do you invest in equities?
Well, I use a strategy which is a strategy based on growth. So I invest in growth companies, and this strategy is something that I developed with a partner while I was at Merrill Lynch for several years. And it's a disciplined strategy which basically uses earnings forecasts to choose companies and to hold on to those companies as long as possible. And I have a portfolio of companies that I can choose from that I update on a monthly basis in case I have to replace a company. And that way I set up portfolios for my clients.
So you advise an equity fund called LVI Axia. Can you tell me a bit about this fund?
Yes, that's a fund that was created by a partner. The company name is Delman. And what I do is I advise them on their investment choice in equities. It's an equity fund which specializes in US and European companies. And what they do is they follow my strategy, which I created with my partner, as I explained. And what we're looking for is 2 or 3 big winners in the portfolio in order to create value for the investors.
Okay, and how can people get in touch with you if they want to be part of this?
Well, it's a publicly traded fund, so it's accessible basically to everybody except US citizens, unfortunately, or US residents. But they can just ask their bank and they can invest in it.
Lawrence, thank you for that, and thank you for coming in today.
You're welcome.
And that's all we have time for now, but do check back later for further updates and interviews from the Dukascopy TV team. Bye for now.